It's simple, really. Great stories with a good cup of tea. It's the Tea with Mike show. Tea with Mike fans, on this episode, we welcomed Cathy Long, an Edmontonian artist who has also worked in theatre, film, dance, and music to the show. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and enjoy this one.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Tea with Mike. Joining me for this one is Cathy. Welcome to Tea with Mike, Cathy. Cathy.
Welcome, thank you.
Awesome. So we're just going to jump right into the show today. So do you want to start by telling people a little bit about your background?
Okay. I am essentially an artist, and that puts me into 4 or 5 different categories. Everything from a little bit of writing, a lot of painting. I like to dance, I make music, and I'm an actress. So I work with Alberta Health Services as a simulation actor, and I got laid off due to the COVID thing in March, but hope we trained the ones well that went on ahead. That should begin to start up again in September, we're hoping. But I'm also with Smoking Gun Live Murder Mystery Dinner Theatres, and I am with Slickser Dinner Theatre as well. I filmed a TV pilot. In fact, the screening of it was just before all this went down. But it is out there, and hopefully it's a comedy called Dumbbells, written and produced by Julie Whalen.
Okay, just yeah, okay.
Yeah. What a character. Yeah. So my dancing years are not as good as they used to be. But my painting is essentially my first and favorite art. Yeah, I went to Emily Carr. Back in the day, it was called Vancouver School of Art, and also Langara Art College. And I have taught art. I've sold many, many paintings. I was the artist for the Leduc Devon Oilfield Historical Society, and myself and 3 other artists, we raised $9,894 for the Interpretive Center out at Devon by selling oil-related art. But I think you probably maybe notice I like flowers, and yeah. I love to paint flowers, and I like to paint just about anything. The majority of what I have sold have been private commissions, and also prints. And I like to do those. I can do them. If I'm just painting for myself, it's another matter.
Interesting. So you mentioned one of your favorite things to paint is flowers. Do you think there's any particular reason for that?
Oh, probably because I'm a Virgo. We're known for loving flowers, but flowers amaze me because they're so tough for how fragile they are. I admire that about them.
What do you mean from the perspective of out there in their natural environment, or in terms of how you paint them in the natural environment?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a big wind here this morning. I can tell you my plants are getting a beating, the ones outside.
Awesome. So let's take it back a little bit. What do you think led you down the path of creativity and getting involved in theatre, film, dance, music, art?
You know, I think there is a predisposition that is given within each of us, and it's what we do with that. It's certainly not a gift if you've got to spend thousands of hours developing it, but yet in some ways it is a predisposition. I mean, from the time I was very young, those were my interests. And I think people that are in the arts, it isn't just one art. It's usually, they're kind of mixed into all of them. Perhaps people excel in one, but when it comes to music, I honestly think that is the most powerful of all of the arts. It is, because it's the song of the soul.
Did you have a favorite style of music that you like to either create or listen to?
Yeah, straightforward rock. And I like some classical. I really like meditation tapes and things like that with the flute, you know, for painting. Um, Endless amount of loves in music. It doesn't really fall into just one. Yeah.
Awesome. And then, so do you have a favorite, let's say, environment that you like to typically listen to these different styles of music in?
Well, probably my studio or my living room, but I'm also a member of the West Edmonton Music Society, and I play harmonica and backup vocals, and I play with quite a few bands there. It's a lot of fun when it opens again.
Awesome.
And, yeah.
I know when I was younger and I spent quite a bit of time at my grandparents' house, one of the things they had was a harmonica, and so I was always curious about it. So I always used to get it out of its nice old like vintage kind of case and like try it out. And sometimes I get a nice note, but a lot of the times I get that ugly like squeal noise.
I've made a few of those too. Yeah.
What do you think are some of the like challenges to playing the harmonica? Because on the surface it looks quite basic, but it's quite difficult to get distinctive different sounds.
Well, it's a tin sandwich when you look at it, isn't it? It is very simple looking. I think a lot of it has to do with how the wind is drawn over those reeds. You can actually bend the metal reeds and create a lot of different tones. I play a simple diatonic harmonica, but some of the European flavors are with a chromatic. It's a fascinating instrument. It took a long time to be accepted as being an instrument. It was invented in Germany back in the 1500s, but it was always handy for soldiers to carry.
Yes, to keep up the spirits.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, you may not know, but why do you think it took so long for the harmonica to be accepted as a musical instrument?
I think it's just plain too simple for them. You have to have a lot of orchestras, you know. You have to have these more complicated instruments, and yet most orchestras nowadays have got a harmonica player, although not exclusively harmonica. That person probably blows several things, but yeah.
Awesome. And then, so what sort of work have you done, let's say, in the theatre and film area, apart from dumbbells?
Okay, well, it's probably going back about 25 years now. A lot of commercials, a lot of small pieces here and there. I was very fortunate to be in Testimony, the Fanny Crosby story, and it is a true story, and it was filmed in Calgary, and I play her mother. That is on Netflix.
Awesome.
Unless they've taken it down, you know, they recycle their stuff.
Yeah, they change it all the time.
You can actually find it on YouTube as well. And Testimony, the Fanny Crosby story. She was blinded when she was 6 weeks old, and her life story is incredible. Yep.
What do you think your favorite part is about kind of let's say about the theatre? Do you like the culture, the culture and the environment, or is it what's your take?
It's both those things, and the camaraderie, but it is a huge thrill to me to be able to entertain people. If I can make them laugh, if I can make them cry, it is a thrill, and that is, I guess that's my selfish take on it. But I love the murder mystery dinner theaters. I play some really crazy over-the-top characters. Dr. Penetration the Cougar is, she's very, very, and I didn't know I'd end up going to the Royal Glenora decked out in the 1980s gym suit. I get killed in that one. Garden shears.
So would it be safe to say that you love performing and entertaining more than necessarily sitting back and watching the theatre, or do you do both?
Well, that's true. I do like to watch the theater, and having been behind the camera to see what's going on, I'm always looking for continuity errors, Oh, her hair was behind her shoulder in that last take. It is an art, and there's a great lot to it. I really find it exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with you. Like once you've been involved in any of these elements, you look at it from a different perspective. I myself worked in theatre for a couple of years, and my perspective on shows I went to see afterwards changed, because I was always looking at, like, from more of the technical side, I'm looking at what all the different lighting elements doing, and what that's conveying from the lighting designer's perspective, and oh, there's the running crew, they move this on like this, and all that sort of thing.
It's interesting. And the things that appear real on the TV, when you're on the set and stuff, it's amazing. I was working on a film, Heart of the Sun, for television some years ago, and we were coming out of a church, and we were crying. Evidently, Graham Greene had died. I'm not sure the name of his character at the time, but we're coming down the hill, and one of the gravestones had no dates. All it said was, "I told you I was sick." And the other one said it was Aunt Mabel's jam, but that doesn't show from the point of view of the camera. So we're trying to laugh, looking like we're crying at the same time, and found the set guy. He said, "Oh yeah, I had to fill that hill out with 15 extra graves last night."
Yeah, like I just said, it's crazy how your perspective and your appreciation grows for all of the different elements, because if you've been involved, all the work that happens before the audience sees it, post the audience sees it, all the hours that have gone into creating that piece.
3 hours for the 30-second commercial. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yes, for sure. In that case, so that's okay. So then they often talk more generically about the struggling artist. So how easy or difficult has it been for you to make money doing what you love over your career today?
Let's just say I've had a lot of real jobs.
Okay.
It is difficult to make money in the arts, and you have to be pretty good at it. And it isn't a regular steady income unless well, I'm sure it is for many and some, but there's a lot of starfish in the sea. The ones that get to the top that see the light, called Hollywood, aren't necessarily the stars. Sometimes it's the key grip, or it's the sound man, or the craft services. Yeah.
Awesome. But so what advice would you give to people who maybe come into, they love maybe one element or multiple elements of this, and they want to try and make it as a career? What advice would you kind of give them and also talking about expectations and reality? Would you give them if they were just starting off?
I think a bit of an education on it, especially the marketing aspects. A lot of artists, well, painters for sure, are introspective, and we spend a lot of time with our faces in front of our canvas, and marketing may not be a strong skill. And, you can sell a paperclip if you've got good marketing skills. There's a lot of organizations and groups that you can join to get information and share with other artists. I really encourage people who are interested in going into the arts to speak to some of the professionals. Yeah, it's there's a lot of elements to take into consideration.
Awesome. Now, I know, because we were talking through the show, and obviously before we were doing this, I know that you're a big tea drinker. So do you want to tell us about your kind of favorite type of tea?
This is a medicine tea. That's my own mix. My Métis tea. I have sage, 1 teaspoon, and about an inch of fresh grated raw ginger, and a splash of cinnamon, and a couple of spoons of honey. And It's good for the metabolism. It's a very medicinal tea.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been drinking this tea? And then also, how did you discover this particular tea? Because like everything, there's so many varieties, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think it was about 3-4 years ago, and I had a cold, and I thought, what can I put together now? I know that ginger is something that heats up the system, and cold viruses don't like heat. So that was when I discovered it, put it together, and it works. I like some other kinds of tea, like camomile's very good for sleeping. I like a nice mint tea now and then, and I like a Earl Grey black.
Also, how many cups of tea would you say you drink on average per day?
Actually, only about one.
Okay, oh wow, you're good.
I don't put it back a lot. I find the tannins in tea are quite rich, and I drink a lot of lemon water.
Okay.
And, yeah, a lot of lemon water, probably 8-10 cups of that a day. But tea, either for bedtime or for medicine in the morning, it's energizing. Yeah.
So okay, cool. And then so how do you decide if you're gonna drink it, if you only have 1 cup a day, if you're gonna have it in the morning or the evening?
Ah, that's a good question. I guess it's just how I feel. It isn't a routine every day. The same.
Very nice. Cool. And all right, so the tea fact for the episode is, in the UK, the time taken by the average tea drinker to make a brew during the working day adds up to earnings of over £27,500 during their working life. Research from online realtor Tea and Coffee shows that architects earn the most from their tea drinking habits at £37,295 over their career. And that comes from Forbes.com.
That's a serious tea drinker.
That is a serious tea drinker, and it definitely made me laugh when I was researching it, because my dad's an architect.
Oh, cool.
But he doesn't drink that much tea, but I just thought it was funny.
I have a friend who was raised in Piccadilly, just off Piccadilly Square.
Yes.
And when he says he needs to brew a tea, it's a serious matter.
Oh, absolutely. It's not a 10-second thing. It can be, well, it depends what type of tea you're making, if you're making it from scratch.
With this one, I brew it for about 20 minutes.
There you go.
I bring it to a boil, and then it just steeps. Yeah.
Awesome. So then we'll transition into what do you really love the most about your work? Because I know when you said in your bio, you talked about how, I think you were talking specifically about your art, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. That your intent, quote, "My intent is to create alternative perspectives within traditional images. I use a combination of traditional painting styles for a bold new look, and hope people enjoy viewing my work as much as I do creating it."
Yeah. The art of creation itself is, whether you're a garbage or a sanitary engineer helping to keep the place clean, that is an art. Or maybe one's art is being a doctor, or maybe one's art is being anything. But the actual act of creating and making something is a fundamental requirement, I think, for human beings to be happy. And that is what the arts bring out the most, you know?
That's a really interesting perspective, because that now changes everything that you see around you, because everybody is, with that definition, is creating something, like a piece of art all the time, even if it's a good piece of customer service or etc.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely be looking at my day job that I just picked up a little bit different now.
Right.
I like customer service, but that is a really fascinating perspective to take into the workplace.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you've got a new job there.
Yes, it's very recent, 3 days old. Yeah, so let's transition again into kind of how has the pandemic affected your work? I know you touched on it a little bit with your work with Alberta Health Services.
Well, acting has fallen off the map pretty much. I guess entertainment isn't essential. It's more essential than people realize, mind you. I mean, all of them, if they do get to go home and they're sitting at home for months, they're going to be watching TV. You know, that's what it is. But it really has affected that aspect of my arts. I at first was, oh, all right then, I'm going to paint a lot. But it's been very hard to find motivation. It's difficult. I haven't seen my grandkids since before Christmas. I can't go see my mother, who is in her early 90s, and the old folks' home. I just started talking to a couple of my friends face to face with distancing and masks recently. It's been a tough one. I'm exceptionally sorry for those that are perhaps not as well mobile as I'm able to be. Yeah, there's a lot of hurting people right now, and I really think that the best advice for them is this can be a portal or it can be a hole. You've really got to take hold of what is going on and possibly reinvent yourself.
Now, also, and then so the next question is, when we eventually get out of the pandemic, how do you think people's perspective of the arts, how do you think that might change? For example, will people not go to events anymore? Do you think, yeah, well, I'll leave it at that because I know you're more on the acting side.
I think it's going to make a huge boom in the video, in the technical arts, in the television. People are not going to go to the theaters as often. They will opt out for the home-based, and it is going to affect us. I don't think there's a defining time in which it's over, yay, today's the day. No, it's going to take some time, and it really is a paradigm shift in how we do things. Yeah.
Also, obviously, a couple of seconds ago, you mentioned how you found it challenging to stay motivated. Obviously, like a lot of people during this unusual times. So, where have you found sources of motivation to keep going, to help you in your goal of potentially reinventing yourself?
Well, I busy myself with plants a lot. I don't feature working in a greenhouse in the future, but I really like them. I have an oversized balcony I'm quite happy with, and I don't know, man. It's a trial. A person has to give themselves I have to give myself a good talking to now and then, and say it isn't what you paint. It is that you're painting. And then it'll come, like the old Field of Dreams. Yeah.
So okay. Is there anything else that you've used for motivation, like plants combined with music, or plants combined with, I don't know, if you like cooking, that sort of thing?
Food, yes. Oh yeah.
Me too.
I like a good traditional breakfast. Give me the bacon, the eggs, the toast, yeah.
The full works, right?
What do they say in England? Bangers and mash.
There you go. So, full English person, yeah, bangers and mash, sausage mash, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, right. So, I guess from the present day moving forward, do you have some future goals, things that you want to accomplish? Anything on your bucket list?
Well, no, not off the top of my head.
That's okay.
That's not very ambitious, but I am just kind of holding my breath. I think I will be going back to acting. The dinner theaters are probably going to take a hit because they're too much altogether. For Alberta Health Services, when we do the simulations, we may have a dozen. Whether they're anesthetists, we help them to train. Sometimes I play a dead person. That's a trick.
I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also play a dying person. Sometimes I die 5 times a day. That is for the training of the palliative care people. I also play a nurse or a doctor, surgeon sometimes. And we will go back to that because we're going to be able to get lots of PPE. We'll be safe working in the hospital. Yeah.
But you think there may be less kind of dinner theatre environments because people are very close together.
Yeah, I think that's going to be slow. Yeah.
Which is a shame, unfortunately, because not that I've been too much, but the few times that I've been to dinner theatres when I was at Red Deer College, at like State West
Right.
And stuff. It was great entertainment. The food was good. The acting, the shows were good. So it's kind of a shame because it's its own little environment.
Yeah.
You kind of.
I think if there is a vaccine, and that it will change that again. We will go back, but in the meantime, I don't know. It's a paradigm shift.
So that I guess leads me to an additional question. Do you think there'll be more local opportunities with potential restrictions on travel and other people, international artists, especially from the States, coming into Canada to do projects? Or do you not think it'll make any difference? I don't know.
No, that's a good question and certainly worth review. I think that, like, we had quite a bit of American investment in Canada. Unless our government gets behind, and I'm speaking directly Alberta right now, gets behind the arts, and it's not real likely, that they're not going to encourage those people to come back. And I think perhaps what I see happening is smaller groups of people, say 25 people in this seniors group or that, will start hiring smaller troops. There'll be room for comedy and that kind of live theater, not so much the 180 people in the dinner hall. It'll thin out. It'll be a new way.
Interesting. So you think, the smaller phones with less audiences, but maybe more shows a day potentially, like
possibly. Yeah.
Awesome. So as we come towards the end of our conversation today, I'll throw it over to you if there's anything you'd kind of like to ask me.
Yeah. When did you come to Canada? You're from Bristol, I understand.
So I'm from England. I'm actually from close to Richmond, North Yorkshire.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. My maternal grandparents were from Yorkshire.
Oh,
My friend from Piccadilly says you can always tell a person from Yorkshire, but you can't tell them much.
That's true in some ways.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to England?
No, I haven't. No, I've not been off this continent. I don't know how I feel about traveling. It'll be a while. Yeah, it'll be a while, but I think I'll get there.
Awesome. And then to answer your question, this is my 8th year in Canada.
And you went to Red Deer?
Yeah, Red Deer College. For theatre and entertainment production for the diploma. And I worked in that industry for a couple of years. And then I just recently went back and did a media and communications diploma, which I graduated on July 4th, 2019.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good for you. See, that's your art, And being able to communicate with people is not something everyone can do. But you're doing well. Yeah.
Thank you. That's actually one of the reasons why I started the Tea with Mike show, because I'm a huge fan of digital and technology, and it has a lot of benefits, like us speaking here today. But there's a lot of people, and even myself, that have lost the ability to hold conversations and to tell stories, and that's really how society started back in with our ancestors, and knowledge
Yeah.
was passed from generation to generations. And if you wanted to tell someone a message, you had to physically go see them. You couldn't just pick up your phone and be like, meet me at the grocery store.
Text them. I think maybe in 100 years, the people will speak only in abbreviations. You know, the language is evolving. It really is. Yeah. I mean, I remember when a virus was just a cold. Now we can get them on our computers too.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you have any final questions for me? Or?
No, not really. I really thank you for the opportunity, and really nice talking to you.
Oh, thank you for being on there. Really enjoyed it.
Good.
And we'll keep in touch. And like I said, I'll show. Well, I can promote your artwork a little bit, put it at the start of or at the end of the video and stuff, so some people can go have a look.
All right.
All right, guys. This was another episode of the Tea with Mike show. This was Cathy. Had a really awesome time today over a cup of tea, and you'll be able to watch this episode at teawithmike.com. Thanks, Cathy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's the Tea with Mike show.